Hello and welcome back. Been a bit run down this week, a bit under the weather. Although the weather's been beautiful, I've been under it, whatever under the weather means. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit run down. Nice big spot at the end of my nose, just in time for recording this video for you. Anyway, the royal anyway. What we're going to do this week, something the Americans know as eggplant parmesan. We would know an eggplant, or rather on this side of the Atlantic, we would know eggplant as an aubergine. So anyway, eggplant, aubergine, parmesan thing. I think the Italians, the original dish, let me check, is called a parmigiana. Parmigiana. Anyway, essentially, it's a bake with some aubergines, with a tomato sauce, with some parmesan, probably some breadcrumbs. I'm doing this my own way, so this is definitely not traditional. But when you taste it at the end, it's close to traditional, but it's not the way I built it. It's not traditional. Anyway, let's get on with it. I really enjoyed this one. It was I had friends around that night, and they all went, "Ooh, yes, ooh," or whatever guests do when they like things. Onwards.
And what is on today's board of goodness? Well, three sections. So I'm going to cut up the aubergine or eggplant and put it in my big dish. I'm going to cut it up into cubes rather than slice it because I think slicing is traditional, but I'm going to cut up into cubes today. I think it's going to work better with this dish. And then on top of the aubergine, eggplant, I'm going to make a rich tomato sauce stroke ragu with a passata, a couple of different types of tomatoes. What's that? Pomodorini, and that's the normal chopped tomatoes with herbs. I'm going to put a few pieces of fresh basil in there to make that really rich. And because it's a vegetarian dish today, I'm going to add some mushrooms in. This is definitely not traditional, but I think it adds a little bit of meatiness to it. And I'll chop up, I don't know, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic in there as well. So that's the sauce, aubergines, sauce, and then the topping I'm going to make from breadcrumbs. And I've got a little bit of cheddar left, so I'm going to grate that in there. About 100, 150 grams of cheddar. I'm going to put in a pack of ricotta. What's that? 250 grams ricotta, and then the parmesan on top. So I'll mix that up and make it like a topping. So aubergine start, sauce next, topping. In there, add a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt to taste. Taste it all the way through and make sure you've got the right amount for your dish, as I always say. Anyway, off we go. Oven is going to be at about 185 degrees. Ding dong! And off we go. Start doing the tomato sauce first because it's going to take the longest. Even a halfway decent tomato sauce will take at least 40 to 50 minutes. So start off by frying the garlic. Then I'm going to add our meaty mushrooms in. And then we'll start adding our tomato sauce. And we're going to bubble that for about, let's start with 30 minutes and see how we get on. You'll probably need to put the lid on at some point during this 30 minutes and let it bubble away slowly. So while all that's bubbling away in the corner, start chopping up your aubergines into, I don't know, rough pieces, centimetre by 2 centimetres or you know, 1 inch by 1 inch, rough pieces, and then fry these. A little bit of oil. It does soak up the oil, so be careful. And as you're cooking these, add a little salt and pepper as you go, so that they're nicely salted or peppered. That'll take about 5 or 6 minutes, I reckon. Well, when it starts looking like this, it's ready. It's soaked up a little bit of oil, it's got some salt and pepper in, tastes pretty damn good. Nice heat off. And just spread that over the bottom of your baking pan. Right, let's have a look at this. I think it's heading rapidly in the direction of done. Yes, it's just nice. You could probably cook it for a bit longer if you wanted. Add a little bit more water, splash of wine, that kind of thing. I think that's heading in the right direction, so I'm going to put in the probably 5 or 6 leaves of chopped fresh basil, whatever, green stuff. So I reckon the tomatoes are about done. Move that out of the way, let's turn that off. Let's get this back in to the centre, and we're going to start pouring this over the top. Oh yes. Let's have a little taste of the tomatoiness, just to make sure we're right. Yes. Right. That goes over there. This goes over here. Do you see that all right? Good. So I've grated up the cheddar cheese. I'm going to add in the ricotta. I'm going to add in quite a few breadcrumbs. Probably about most of that pack, 150 gram pack. Probably about 120 grams of that. Right. I'm going to sprinkle that on that. So, back to there. And get your hands in there and sprinkle it all across like this. Right. I'm going to send that into the oven for about 20 minutes. Let's say 15. Then I'm going to fetch it out and a nice layer of Parmesan over the top to finish off, because it is eggplant Parmesan. So look at that. Ooh, it didn't actually take 15 minutes. Probably would have put it on a lower heat actually. But let's get the Parmesan in there. Parmesan, whatever. And that's probably only going to take another 4 or 5 minutes at most. Get that. Oh yes. 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 Another 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, now look at that. It's a beauty. All nicely. Oh yes, a little bit of a crisp on the top. Just a tiny bit of crisp on the top. I'm going to serve that with some salad and some lovely olive drizzled bread. Oh, let's have a quick look. Oh yes. That's good. Let's have a taste. That is absolutely superb. Not a massive difference to a traditional eggplant parmesan, but just the way I've done it, it's slightly different. And it works with the mushrooms. Adds a little bit of meatiness to it. With the panko breadcrumbs on the top rather than on the aubergine themselves, on the eggplant itself, that's slightly different. Anyway, I'm going to dig into that and really enjoy it. So, woo, thank you.
So there isn't really a lot to say at the end of this one in summing up, but it is a dish that at its core is traditional, but the bits you add or take away are where there's a lot of variability. There's a lot of, you can choose what cheese you sprinkle over the top. I've got ricotta. I also had some cheddar, but you can go to sort of more traditional ones like a pecorino. It really is. This is a dish that's sort of hard to do badly as long as you get the. I think the tomato sauce, a richness in the tomato sauce is probably the only thing I'd really stress. So don't take for 10 minutes to do the tomato sauce. Take your 40 or 50 minutes and reduce that liquid down a little bit. It's about the only thing I would say to watch out for. The rest of it is very changeable. You can do many different things. It's a nice palette to paint things on or paint on canvas. You know what I mean. Anyway, next time. Take care. Bye.